Good morning.
Hello. Good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're tuning in.
Welcome to the Keto Mom page.
Milky. This is Stephanie. You are on Keto Mom. We've had quite the week.
We've had weekend.
We've had quite the weekend. And we are excited to talk about our book club. We're excited to talk about the pursuit. We're excited to talk about.
We are
not
excited to
stopping
go
after
through the
victory.
book and to go through chapter 18, but we also want to address something that happened this weekend. Honestly, because I feel like we talked to so many of you throughout every day, throughout the week, that I feel like the Keto Mom page is a part of our family. You're our friends. And so a lot of you've reached out. A lot of you've reached out and said that you were praying and that you were thinking of our daughter. If you saw on our stories, or if you didn't, there was an accident where our daughter, I'm not going to go through the whole story, but our daughter, Emery, she's 12. She was basically booted off a horse, hit her head, which resulted into an ambulance ride, which resulted into all Saturday into the ER. Thankfully, nothing seriously broken or bleeding, a severe concussion that she is healing from.
Yeah, I mean, just in that, I apologize for being tongue-tied earlier.
Yeah.
But the reality is just all of that entire situation, it is a miracle.
Right.
I mean, it's pretty crazy when you see such a beautiful, big animal just go...
And throw your daughter.
You see your daughter flying. Never a good thing.
Never a good thing.
But I'm thankful for helmets. We're thankful. We had great care. And it's pretty cool because we hit our chat threads and we just were like, we need prayer for this, and this.
Right.
And so there's a lot of, I'm sure we'll unpack more of the story as we kind of go through it and as we process it. But it's pretty cool, like when you see the faithfulness of God. And I do want to talk about today's chapter in the book because there's a certain aspect. Can I just start talking about one part of it?
Yeah.
So on chapter, we're on 18. Is that right?
We're on chapter 18. So just real quick, if you're brand new, post new below. If you don't know our story or you're like, what happened to your daughter? You can, I put it on my personal page. You can read a little bit about it. We've shared on our stories. You can continue to pray for her. Every morning we do a mindset live. I said, man, I feel like I haven't done a live in a week, but it's only been 48 hours. It's been a crazy 48 hours, but she's resting right over here on the couch. She is healing. She's doing great.
We got
are
great protocol.
Super
Great
thankful for some of the doctors that we have connections with that understand the power of the brain. I'm going to say the power of ketones in the brain. And so we are blessed with a really great group of people to help and support her.
Hey, Heather, glad you're new here. Welcome to the page.
So in general, we do a live about a book.
Usually Monday through Saturday.
Yep.
We do a live. We go over mindset. Psychology is everything.
Right.
Your thoughts become things. It's so important. And what we've kind of realized is a lot of people come here because they're looking for recipes. They're looking for tips and tricks on how to lose those unwanted pounds. But if you look at it, it's typically because of choices. Choices have consequences. It's typically because of habits. Habits are what create the results of your life that you're at today. Hey, Joe, welcome. Glad that you're new here. This is awesome. We love having new people jump into the community. And I'm thankful for every single person who tunes in and who watches these. So appreciate, we had a lot of people reach out to us just in regards to seeing Stephanie's stories and seeing what happened to Emery over the weekend. Chapter 18, don't stop after victory. This one hits home a little bit because Emery had 2 victories. She had 2 ribbons and she was getting ready to crush her egg.
She had an amazing morning with the horses. So well.
And here's what's, so on this first page, he tells of a couple, brand new married couple. Hey, Debbie, welcome. Glad that you're new here. That's awesome. So in this, he talks about this. Then this is pretty typical. See if you can relate with this, but it's a young couple. They get married. They are super ambitious. They want all of the things that their parents have, right? So they work real hard. They get married young. They fight real hard. They save their bucks. They get a down payment on their dream home. They go out and they buy furniture. They buy a couple of cars. And then somewhere between the ages of 25 and 30, they're slowly moving ahead, but then they try to maintain it. And they're trying to just maintain what they created. They're not growing anymore. They're just trying to maintain it.
Right.
And then what happens is they lose it. So it's pretty crazy because, and this is not a story about like, it's all about the material items. It's about the pursuit, right? So think about just those actions. Here's a young couple. They're passionate. They're on fire. They're going after something more in life. Can you relate? Have you been there? Have you been on point? Have you been on mission? Have you had dreams? Do you have a vision? Do you have goals? Do you have things that you're pursuing after? And you start making headway. You start making progress. You start, we kind of refer to it as it's the level of your thermometer.
Thermostat,
Your
yeah.
thermostat. Where's your thermostat at? Right? Is it
I don't know
growing?
if people understand. Okay, so can you explain the thermostat? Like, what do you mean by that?
All right, so I just had a conversation with a really good friend yesterday, and we were talking about circles. Like we talk about the things that make a big impact: your relationships, your finances, your spiritual life, your work life, right? All these things make a big difference in who you are. But your thermostat, like right now, it's going to be like 100-degree day where we're at today.
Okay.
So it's getting hot outside, right? So I'm just curious, when you're around a certain group of people, are they raising your thermometer? Are they raising your thermostat to become a better version of yourself? Or are you walking into arenas that are lowering your standards, lowering your core values, lowering your integrity? What's that worth? Lowering your character, lowering your morals. Is this making sense?
Yeah.
So it's like you're either growing or you're dying.
Oh, he says this. We're going to talk about
I don't know.
stretching or shrinking.
So the whole point to all this is when you try to maintain, you actually end up shrinking. When you try to maintain, you actually end up just lowering. When you try to maintain, you just kind of end up going downward.
Right.
And so the pursuit is, and so the whole chapter is about don't stop after a victory. You should constantly be dreaming. Our pastor says it this way. You're not, I just had a total brain memory.
I'm like, I don't know what he says. Well, you think about it for 2 seconds.
I say it all the time. I don't know why I lost it.
So if you're new, because it seems like we've got a handful of new people here, we go through a book every morning. You can go to Keto Mom Secrets, all one word, ketomomsecrets.com, to look at all of the other chapters we've done and all of the other books we've done over the years. And there's recipes and things that you need for your keto lifestyle. Steve has his phrase. What's the phrase?
I don't know why I missed this.
Yeah.
I apologize. If you're not dead,
you're not done. Ah,
see?
My dad said that before you heard a pastor say it.
I love it. I think that's great.
My dad
You're
says
not
it
dead,
all
you're
the
not
time.
done. I don't know if that's true, but I love it.
He said it's not true, but I think he said it to me when I was young.
He always says, no, this is what your dad says. Your dad says, I'll sleep when I'm dead.
Oh, all right.
A little
all
bit
right.
different.
Yes.
The whole point to all of this is, can I tie it into Emery now? Like where
I was wondering where you were going with Emery, so I just thought you were diving into the book.
No, because it's so powerful.
All right.
So Emery yesterday, I'm sitting with her, and she's like, I want to. After all of this, we're having an honest conversation yesterday. And
About
she's
horses?
Like, about just life.
Oh.
And she's like, I want to listen to the Book of Esther. So we're listening to the Book of Esther. And we pause it halfway through, and she looks at me and she says, Daddy, did the enemy try to take me out? Did the enemy try to kill me? Did the enemy try to wreck my brain? Is what she said. And I said, he did. He attempted to destroy you. And I paused, and she says, but he didn't, did he? I said, you're right. He didn't. She says, but guess what? I'm going to destroy him and send him back to the pit of hell where he belongs. I'm like, yes, yes, yes. So some of you who are like, I thought this was about keto. That's not a keto statement. Are you crying?
Nope.
Yes, you are.
No, it's not. Didn't really come out yet.
So
we joke on here and tell people how often I cry. Way more often than not.
Here's the reality, though. Her perspective is, even when knocked down, she's not done.
Right.
Even when taken out, she's not finished. If you're not dead, you're not done. There's more in you. So the reality is that if you're tuning into this, you have a purpose. You have greatness in you because greatness made you.
Yeah.
You have dreams. You have visions. You have goals. Do not maintain. Do not take your foot off the gas. Do not stop. Because when you do, that's when you start coasting. That's when you start cooling down. And then and guess what? You're not serving the world. You're not helping the world. You're not stepping into your total greatness, because we have to constantly be on the pursuit of better.
I love that. I do love it, because he says this: most people are always looking for an ending, but winners, as they get closer to the ending, know that they've got to have a new beginning, and you've got to have new beginnings at all times. And if we are just simply tying this to your, let's just say your low carb keto lifestyle, let's say for whatever you're here for, I often hear people say, I have to get to the wedding. I have to, if I could just lose the weight for the vacation, if I could just lose it for the summer, if I could just, and they have this end date. I hear it all the time. They have an end date, but they forget to restart because they hit the end date of something. Then they, in just perspective of your physical health, they gain it all back because they just tried to maintain and it didn't work. They didn't try to be better. They didn't try to get stronger. They didn't try to push themselves in walking a little bit further or learning a new recipe or learning anything new. They said, oh, I've arrived. And then they stopped, right? Which causes what? Maybe many of you here have been in that like cycle of, yep, I started, I thought I reached the end date to maintain, and then I gained it all back. And then I do it again, and I do it again. When what he says in this chapter is super powerful, is it's like you go from victory to victory. You don't ever stop. You don't ever go, oh, I've arrived, but you're like, all right, I've reached this goal. What's next? What's next? And he goes through this whole chapter and he says, sometimes his friends say, well, isn't that enough? Like he says, even in just material things, he's like, isn't that enough? And he says, no, it's never enough, because if I stop, that's when I get old. If I stop, that's when my body deteriorates. If I stop, that's when I fail.
Yeah.
Right?
So good.
All right, so I loved what he said right here. I'll give you an example. He says, there are two kinds of men who never amount to very much. Cyrus H.K. Curtis, I'm not sure who he is, he says, remarked one day to his associate Edward Bach. And what kind are those? He says, those who cannot do what they are told, replied the famous publisher, and those who can do nothing else. Your name is either stretch or shrink. What's your name? What's your nickname? What are you going to continue? Stretch, otherwise you shrink. So the first step towards going somewhere significant is to decide that you are not going to stay where you are, and once you're moving, you've got to keep moving. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I like it.
I
was listening to a podcast from Ed Milet and one of these famous NBA trainers, and Kobe Bryant was, one of the greatest basketball players ever, and he started his workouts at 4 a.m. and we went through this book called The Compound Effect a couple months ago. But he compounded his training because he wanted better than average results. Like he wanted to be the best. And so his practice started at 4 a.m. He showed up at 3:30. Moral of the story, he wasn't even late for himself.
Right.
So often there's so many principles in all of this, but it's like, how do you show up for others? How do you show up for yourself? Then when he gets there at 3:30, he would focus on basics, footsteps, ball movement. And he broke it down to the simplest basics of basketball. And I'm curious, where in your life are you just kind of thinking, I've got the basics done. I've got the basics mastered. So this NBA trainer was like, first off, it's impressive that you're here 30 minutes early, but why are you working on footwork? Like, why? It's so basic and you have it down and you're the best in the world. And he looked at him, Kobe Bryant says, why do you think I'm the best in the world?
Because he does the basics.
So I think there's certain things in your life.
Practices every day.
And this is what's the beautiful thing. Like having a conversation with some of my friends yesterday, we realized we're all different. We've all been created with different plans and different talents and different techniques and different skills. Each and every one of us has a different vision and a different dream for our families and for ourselves and for our days, right? Like I'm curious, what does your ideal day look like? What kind of relationships do you want? What do you want your finances to look like by the end of the year? Have you written out your goals? And it's pretty amazing how much in 7 years your life can change as long as you stay on the pursuit.
Right.
But what are those things for you? Have you even identified them? Most of you have. That's why you keep tuning in. And what are the things that you can do every day? What are those basic steps to keep you focused on the path of growing and stepping into the best version of yourself?
I love that. I underline this. He says, we can all experience success, but how much success do you want? And how much do you want?
Yeah, that's right. That's great. I mean,
why did you say it twice? Anyways, but let me finish this part. He says, along the lines of life, we don't know what's in it. We don't know what's in it until we push ourselves. The ones that know it all don't grow at all. We've got to always, like, life is about growing. It's about pursuing better. It's exactly what you're saying. I just liked how he said it.
Oh, thanks. It's great.
Yeah.
So what I love is that Stephanie likes to read through the book. She's a
like
super fast speed reader. She underlines things, and then it's this spitfire, whatever's on the heart.
Well, I could underline the whole book.
You really could. There's a lot to it. So I'm just curious, in your life, what are those things that you're going after? Have you identified them? Have you written them out? Have you come up with the game plan? Have you focused on what your basics are? What are those foundational principles that you're going after?
Right.
Do you know?
I mean, I'm constantly growing in my fitness for sure. I think it would be easy to maintain. I know, but I'm saying muscles. I think that our family is on the pursuit of better and never stopping because I just told Steve, he said something to our daughter before he dropped her off at driver's ed this morning. And he said, Amelia, years ago, he did mortgage banking for like a year and a half, right? Mm-hmm. And I don't know where it came from this morning, but he said, you know what I used to do? He randomly sat at the table. He's like, you know what I used to do? Years ago, he goes, I used to read my mortgage banker book as I was learning it, and I would record it so I could listen to it and learn it. And I said, babe, you are so wise. You were wise before we were even taught self-development, personal development, before we were even had wise people in our life.
Oh, I don't know about all that.
I mean, we had some wise people in our life, but I mean, like...
I'm just saying because she's studying her DMV test.
Yeah, but before we were truly taught the power of personal development and understanding wisdom and understanding, like, you should never quit. Just being, like, I don't know. What did you ask me?
Well, understand this. It's important to have a constant dream. It's important.
I was going somewhere, I just forget.
To have it written down. It's important to figure out the game plan, the blueprint of your life.
Yeah.
Most people are just coasting.
Oh, I know. You asked me a question.
Most people are just casually being casual. They're caught up in the hypnotic rhythm. And we've got friends who have everything, and we have friends that are in the pursuit of gathering things. And it's not even about the things. It's about the purpose. And what's so great is that you've been gifted with an individual call for your life. And so our hope is, I hope you can hear our heart through all this, is that we want you to be stepping into your greatness in every area of life. And here's what's great, is you've got an amazing community that you can plug into. So if you've got questions, ask your questions. If you need help, ask the questions. Like, we can get you connected with somebody who can give you great answers. There's so many great books. There's so many great business plans that are out there. Our mentor, Brian, says this, there's 1 million ways to make $1 million, and that's not a money claim, but the reality is, like, where your focus and attention goes, like, you can create. You've been gifted hands and a mind to create greatness. Go for it.
I don't know. You don't seem like you want me to read them because
do.
you're just spewing off the cuff, so I'm just letting you say whatever you want.
I'm done.
You're fine. I don't know how you want to end it.
Sorry. I apologize. This is
I'm
Keto
letting.
Mom.
Nope. This is great. What else would you like to say?
What questions do you all have? I mean, I can go back and I'll go check.
We don't need to. Well, we can come back and answer
cool
questions.
Stories there.
Anyways, here's something
great?
fun.
You get in real life
here's
here.
something fun. The
Does
secret to
everything have to
youth.
be polished and perfect?
No, the secret to youth is being busy and having new growing dreams. Steve always says he's not just gonna. I think this whole idea of I've made it, I've got to maintain it, I'm going to retire is a lie.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if you just are sitting at home and watching, or you feel like you've made it, or you haven't pursued anything in years, it's time to pick up a book. It's time to find a mentor. It's time to find a group of new people, a new environment to grow. Otherwise, you're going to get nowhere else in life.
Yeah, that's really good. I like that.
All right. What would you like to say at the end?
Oh, I'm excited. We've got.
I'm sorry. I feel like we look tired. I'm not tired. I actually feel really great. I think we've just been
saying I look
processing
tired?
things. No, I feel like our continence, is that the right word? Like, I feel like we're like,
Do you want to jump on the rebounder?
I feel like we should like
Do you want to go
rally
outside?
you up. It's Monday. It's going to be a great day. It's going to be a great week. We're super thankful that our daughter is healing. We're super thankful for this community. I'm super thankful. I was even just thinking, as I think back on Emery and her situation, how well we handled it, because we were taught like EQ. We were taught about adaptability. We were taught about the power of our words. We didn't speak death over our daughter. Like during the whole situation,
we can talk
the
about that right
reason
now.
that I feel like we handled it so well is because we've been given wisdom and we've been learning and growing as better parents. And so it wasn't like a freak out session. It was like we handled it. We spoke life over her the entire time. I feel like in general, you're either speaking life or death over your body, over your situation, over your life, and you better stop it. That's it.
Let's stop speaking life.
No, stop speaking death. Sorry.
That's right.
Sorry.
Should
Stop
we just tell them
speaking
what
death.
happened?
Well, I don't want to go over the whole thing.
It
No,
could be.
I don't want
It
to.
could be great. All right, we'll save that for another. We'll save that for another Zoom, another live. Hey, thanks. I don't know who gave the stars. That's awesome. All those stars go to an orphanage in Honduras. So thank you for giving those.
Yeah.
We're gonna share more. There's a lot of stuff that I feel like we're stirring up right now, and we're just super excited about life. And you know what? Sometimes you're gonna be attacked. Like that's what I saw it as this weekend. We were attacked, and we were prepared. You know that?
Yeah.
And now we're walking through it with a great game plan. And we got great relationships. We got, you know what? The best is yet to come.
So this chapter was about don't stop after victory. The point is this. You may feel like you've won, but don't stop, or you're going to either stretch yourself. You need to continue to stretch yourself, or you're going to start shrinking. You don't just get to stay. It doesn't happen. So in general, like if you're on a great like upward movement in your health, keep going. Don't
Yes.
get to the wedding. Don't get to the vacation. Don't get to that like end date and quit. There's always more in you. There's always more to pursue in any area of your life, whether it's finances, relationships, your health, spiritually, physically, all of those things in your work. Keep going. Always have a goal to push to, and we are here to help. That's it. So this is the book we're going through, KetoMomSecrets.com. You can head over and watch the other chapters. This one goes till chapter 31, and then we're starting a new book called Just One More? Is that what?
Power of one more.
The Power of One More. So if you want to actually follow along in the book, it's by Ed Milet, The Power of One More. We'll be starting that in July. That's all I have. Anything else?
I think you're beautiful. I think you're amazing. Thanks for tuning in.
We'd love for you to press the share button. Sharing is caring. Otherwise, continue to tune into the page. Thank you for praying for Emery and our family. You can continue to pray for her as she walks through this. And that's it. All right. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you later.